Welcome to the Nerdthusiast Gaming Podcast, where today we're going to be discussing convention tips, more convention tips. We did this last year, but we're going to kind of bring it back, and we're going to kind of line it up for you in a timely manner, like, what you should do 6 to 3 months, 3-month mark, etc., etc. Then we're going to be talking about some verses. We're going to be looking at Splinter Cell versus Metal Gear, and maybe an extra one if we have some time. 2025, the year of Xbox Game Pass, is another subject. Nintendo's pushing digital games, apparently. And then we're going to talk about our gaming habits, how they've changed over the years, and we're going to wrap things up with a pulse check. So, if you don't know what a pulse check is, it's we just take a look at a quick look at some retro gaming prices. We pick a high one and a low one each month. That's what that is. And this is a big meaty show. Obviously, this is more topics than we usually do. So this is going to run us, through May, April, and then lead us into June, where hopefully we'll have a special guest.
Ooh.
Follow us on social media.
I wonder who.
We'll see. We're this close. I do also want to mention one bit of housekeeping, just so you guys know. If you're watching here, which here could be, who the hell knows where you're watching? If you're watching on YouTube.com/@Nerdthusiast Gaming, that's where we put all of our gaming content, early before it goes up on the main channel. That's where we want you guys to go and subscribe to. That's, the home for all gaming stuff here at Nerdthusiast. If you want to check out our legacy content, it's youtube.com/Nerdthusiast. That's our main channel. Our content that we're producing here does go up there eventually, but it's usually about a month or so after the show comes out, in bits and pieces. We put the full episode up over there about a month later. So if you guys could subscribe to both, like, share, ring the bell, all that fun stuff, that would be spectacular. If you like what you hear today, please give us a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the other great ones that are out there. With me, as always, guys, is my great friend Wes. Wes, how you doing, man?
What's going on, my friend?
Not much, man. I'm excited for the show. A lot of subjects to talk about.
A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff to cover.
And it's heating up, Wes. Convention season's here. We're going to be talking about that in just a second. I'm excited. SoCal's back. SoCal Gaming Expo. You're going to too many games this year, right?
Yes, sir. I'm excited. It's convention season. I'm happy.
Me too, man. So these are the two big ones that you and I usually go to. Eventually we're going to go to one together. It's only a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that time is coming up sooner than later, right? I think by next year we'll probably be at a convention together. What do you think?
I think so too. For people who don't know, Matt's in California. I'm in Jersey.
Right. So it's a little hard to get together.
Yeah, just a little.
But let's kick things off with conventions, guys. So last year we did a video about, we just kind of threw a bunch of stuff at you. It was a little bit jumbled, right? It was like, oh, you should do this, this, and this. We had a structure, but this time I want to talk to you guys about it, as a planning mechanism. What you guys should be doing, between the 6 to 3 month marker. So the first thing you got to figure out is, are you going solo or are you going with people? Right, Wes?
That's always good. Because you can kind of gauge your day based on if you're going solo or if you're going with a friend or a group of friends. Because for me, it's a different experience. If and I'm talking not just the gaming conventions, but Comic Cons. It's all the same. If I go by myself, I'm focused and I can kind of do my thing. But if I'm with people, you kind of have to do kind of what the group wants, and it's a different experience.
Yeah, there's a give and take there when you have other people. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, plan if you're going by yourself or with people.
Right, or if you're going to like one of these multi-day conventions, like, listen, Friday we're gonna do whatever you guys want. Let's go. Saturday, leave me the hell alone. I'm doing my own thing. Like, you do something like that too. Not be rude to anybody, but just say it a different way.
Well, I usually do that. Like when I go to Comic Cons, I usually go the first day by myself.
Yeah.
And I kind of do my thing, go at my own pace, look what I don't want to look at. And same thing with too many games. Like, so this year, going multiple days. First day, I'm probably going to go by myself. Second day, I'm going with friends. And said when I go to Comic Cons, I do the same thing. If we go to New York, I usually bring my family on like day 3.
Okay.
So
you've already been there for a while. You're like, all right, what do you guys want to do?
Exactly.
Makes sense. That's a good strategy. I like that. So once you have that established, how many people are going, the next thing you need to do is book a room if you're going to go for a multi-day trip. If you're going for a single-day trip and you can get there and home like at a relative time, don't bother booking a hotel. It's a waste of money.
Mm-hmm.
If you plan on staying there for a few days, it's definitely worth doing. I recommend it. My sweet spot is like 2 days. I think 3 days is too much. I think 2 days is like perfect. But I usually do get a hotel. I'm getting a hotel this year. And you just want to figure out, how many rooms you're going to need depending on how many people are going to go with you, or do an
Okay.
Airbnb.
No, yeah, you can do that too. Yeah, I guess it's all a matter of proximity.
Mm-hmm.
Like for too many games, I'm like an hour and a half away.
That's not too far.
It's not too far, so I'll drive back and forth. When I go to, like, for example, when I go to New York Comic Cons, it's 4 days. I'm about 2 hours from New York. Driving back and forth, going to New
No,
York, dealing with that traffic
nah,
is
man.
murder. I've done it. I've done it. My one daughter got married and lives closer to New York. She's like about 30 minutes. So I'll go spend the night with her, go Friday, drive home Saturday, grab my family. We drive up Saturday. We'll get a hotel Saturday night and do Sunday.
You go back to get your family and then drive back again?
Yeah, it's kind of
That
crazy.
sounds crazy, bro. Why don't they just meet you there?
It's too many cars.
I get that too.
It's too many cars. We'll just take one car. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So yes, it's all a matter of proximity. If you're more than 2 hours, I definitely recommend getting a room.
Yeah, get a room, scope it out, right? Find out what amenities the hotel has, proximity to the venue you're going to. Do you want to just be able to walk to your hotel? That's one thing that I usually look for. Like, I'll pay a little bit more to be closer to the venue. If it means I can have a drink and not have to worry about anything, I can walk, you know, anywhere without having to drive is fantastic. So I'll avoid that
Yeah,
as much as possible.
yeah. And one thing you want to do is book early,
Yes.
especially for the big conventions. You want to book early because they fill up. Rooms fill
Mhm.
up quick because everybody's going to have the same idea. Everybody's going to want to stay. So the earlier you kind of know your plans, the better. You have a better chance of getting a room.
Yeah, and if it's not like a giant thing like Comic-Con or something, I would say get a refundable room, because what you can do if you have a refundable room is when it gets closer to the venue. I actually did this last year. The rates dropped. There was a way better deal, like I would say 3 or 4 days before the event,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to rebook and get that better deal. And it came with like food and drinks.
Oh,
The other
nice.
one, yeah, it was cheaper and it came with food and drinks. It was like, okay, well, if they said no, I would have just canceled and rebooked. But I just called them and they rebooked it for me.
Nice.
But if the room was not refundable, guess what? Nope. You get what you paid for, and that's it. So I would definitely recommend paying a little bit extra to get a refundable room if you think it's not going to be sold out everywhere. That's putting us between the 6 and the 3 month time frame. I would say you want to start most of that stuff like 6 months out, or if they only give you like a 5 month notice, 5 months, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But let's narrow some stuff down to the 3 months a little bit. I would say within 3 months, if not earlier, you got to start planning it out with a budget, because if you're going to go to a retro gaming one, you got to bring cash. Other ones you might be able to get away with credit cards, but cash is king at these retro game conventions. You can get better deals. You got to bring cash to these things. Wes, what do you think? 3 months out or longer? What does your budgeting start?
Usually about 3 months. Yeah, you hit it. About 3 months. I'm like, okay, I know this event is coming up. Let me start putting some money aside, a little bit each paycheck, just so I know what I'm working with. Um, yeah, video game conventions definitely bring cash.
Yes.
Like you said, cash is king. Um, a lot of the vendors are willing to negotiate a little bit more with cash
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to credit card. I mean, they'll still sell you the product with a card, but it's the tax and then the credit card fees and in emergency cases, yeah, use a credit card, but go with cash.
Yeah, if you plan ahead, you won't have an emergency case. You won't be busting out your credit card for a few $1,000s for a Little Sam's, and you won't be doing that. You'll either have the cash or you won't, and be smart about it. Yeah, so that's I think that's probably the biggest thing for the 3 months out. Any other things you can think of that need to be about 3 months out?
That's pretty much it.
1 week. Make a list of everything you need a week before so you don't miss anything. Didn't do this last year. Paid for it, in the form of I had no business cards. Forgot all my business
Mm-hmm.
cards and stickers that I planned on giving out to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the one thing I forgot. But I didn't make a list and I didn't check it ahead of time. So that was what I did off my brain.
The one thing I didn't do is, like you said, make a list. Make a list of what you're looking for.
Yeah, that too. That I think you should start that 3 months in advance. Honestly, like when you're getting the cash, that's a great thing to start 3 months in advance. Is because you might be thinking like a week ahead of time. Well, what do I want? I don't even know. You just start writing things down, even throughout the year. You
Yeah.
think of something, write it down, and get ready for that convention.
Yep. Definitely have a list. But a week before, yeah, start really thinking about what it is you are trying to hunt down. Do you have something you're looking for this year?
I think I've written down like two or three things. I was way worse about it this year than last year. By now, I had like a full list of what I was looking for. But if you guys know me, I don't look for like high end stuff. I look for like cheaper stuff that I actually would want to play, or stuff that's not crazy. Every once in a while, I'll buy an expensive game, and expensive to me is like $100. I'm not buying these $1,000 games. I'm not. That's insanity. Like I don't care.
Mhm.
Like if I really wanted to play Little Samson or something, I'll emulate it. I'm not paying thousands of dollars. Um, but yeah.
Okay.
So I think I have like three or so. I'll probably end up with like I usually have I want to have somewhere between 5 to 10 games that I look for. Anything else is
Okay.
just like if I have extra money, I see something like, oh, that's cool. Let me buy that.
Okay.
What
Yeah,
about you?
I got about, I think I have one or two things definitely on the list. But then I also have like a generic, like for example, Sega CD. I just put Sega CD,
Like whatever you can find.
whatever I can find.
That's going to be
Um,
Turbo Graphics for me this year. Like last year, there was like nothing, Wes. Like nothing. There was like one vendor I think that had Turbo Graphics games, maybe two. And anything I was interested in was either too expensive or like nothing I cared about. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I know we're talking about 1 week out, but if you haven't done it yet, download Game Eye. It would make your life so much easier. It keeps a catalog of what you have in your collection as far as games, and it makes it so much easier when you do go to these conventions to know what you have already.
Yep.
So, look, just a little tip.
And then actually use it, because last year I didn't use it and I actually bought a game that I already had. I didn't know it. So
Really? Oh
one
man.
game. I didn't look at it. I was like, I know I don't have this game. I had it. It was like a $10 game. I really didn't care, but I was just like, damn
Okay.
it. I was like, damn it. The hell. Um,
Oh yeah, I was using Game Eye like all through the convention.
dude, I did like every time except for the one time I was like, I don't need this. I know I don't have
Mm.
this.
It is a free app, so yes, download it. It is the best app you will ever download.
Yep. It's awesome. Awesome. Highly recommend Game On. Scout out places to eat. This is a necessity. I think I mentioned this last year. The food in these places generally sucks. It's terrible. Like you gotta look for places to eat, for God's sake. I can't do it anymore. I mean, I did it when I was younger, but I can't. I absolutely will not spend $15 on a crappy hot dog or like chicken fingers that aren't even like decent. Like there's decent chicken fingers in the world, but they're not at these conventions. I'm telling you that right now.
You know what? I don't know. I'll say, all right, so too many games. The food wasn't bad, and it was priced very reasonable.
Well, that's surprising.
New York Comic Con, you're inside the Javits Center. There's tons of food vendors, and it's priced ridiculous. Food's not bad tasting; it's just way overpriced. Philly Comic Con, you're right across the street from a big food mart terminal, Reading Terminal Market, which has tons of food places in it. There's a Chipotle, so there's other places really with close by within walking distance that you can opt to go eat to. So
Nice.
yeah, definitely check out eating places and kind of get a game plan.
Yeah, if you want to do stuff like after hours too, scout that stuff out. Like for retro game conventions, there's probably like barcades and stuff nearby. Stuff like that, or just a bar in general if you want to go have a drink. Oh, I do want to give Metal Jesus a shout. If you guys don't watch him, he's obviously much bigger than we are on YouTube. But he does these travel videos, and they're like my favorite videos that he does. And like he travels around, and like he doesn't just show you like the gaming convention. He shows you like what he's done and like where he's going and like other stuff, and they're really really cool. So scout out those locations. Like maybe you just want to go visit like a national park or something like that. You know, go do those things when you're somewhere else. That's what I would also recommend. Oh, in that window too, just a reminder, when you're in that 1 week window and if you did do the refundable hotels, that is the time to start checking for better prices. See if you can get a better rate within that 1 week. Then we got the day before. I'll start things off. You got to check the weather. Don't be stupid. Check the weather. That way you pack appropriately. It doesn't rain in Southern California often. It rained last year. Guess who didn't have a jacket?
You.
I had a hoodie though. But I also wasn't standing out in the rain. It would, I really didn't need a jacket. A hoodie was fine. But if I was standing in line, that would have been a different story. Luckily, I got, my entrance, like, I got in a little early, so I didn't have to deal with that. But I easily could have, and my hoodie would have been probably drenched. Because I certainly didn't bring an umbrella either. It's not something you think about, where I live.
Another thing you should definitely bring, we talked about it in our last video last year, but make sure you have like a backpack or a bag, something to carry your stuff in, because you don't want to be walking around with stuff in your hand.
Yes. You need a semi-empty backpack. You should have very little, like, pack as little as you can in there. Please pack deodorant, for God's sake. Put deodorant in there. Do yourself and everybody around you a favor. Just in case, it's going to smell in there. I'm telling you that right now. If you go to one of these conventions, it's going to stink. Be the courteous one. Don't be the stinky one, please.
It's not that bad.
It can be. It can be. Pack gum, pack whatever you want, like some water. You can get away with water in these places. Usually can't get away with just about anything else, but water you can walk in with. Other stuff you want to pack and bring with you, obviously if you're spending the night, you want to bring like a toothbrush, medication, stuff like that. But electronics, you want to bring a phone charger. You want to come with your phone completely charged.
Yes.
Bring snacks if you feel like you need to eat throughout the day. Bring a battery backup if you're filming or recording stuff. Bring the appropriate gear that you need for that.
Wear comfortable shoes, sneakers.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Hey dudes, whatever. Just don't. Flip flops are the worst.
Oh no.
I've seen a couple of people with flip flops, and you're on your feet all day, walking all day, and yeah, your feet will definitely start to hurt.
Yeah. Plus, nobody wants to see that. Please do everybody else a favor and put on some shoes. No, I would say just a step beyond that, wear comfortable clothes. My God, you don't want to be wearing something uncomfortable. Like, I think I usually wear like jeans and a t-shirt. I might wear basketball shorts this year. I don't know.
Yeah, I got my cargo shorts and a t-shirt.
Cargo shorts are good.
Cargo shorts and a t-shirt. There we go.
That's a good plan. Those are the main things for the day before, like getting really ready. What you should do is come with a game plan, look at the convention website, and schedule out what you want to do. Do you want to go to panels? You should know when the panels are. Panels do also change, so when you get to the venue, you should check their boards and see when the panels actually are taking place. Which vendors do you want to go to first? Think about that. And I would just say one of the things you want to keep in mind is the last day is usually the best day to buy something. However, if you're looking for something sought after, there's a real good shot it's not going to be there by the last day if this is like an uncommon or rare item.
Yeah, so if you're going to a game convention, if you see it, buy it. Well, because if you walk away, there's a good chance it may be gone when you go back.
I would say if it's a common game, don't. But if it's an uncommon or rare game, yeah, you might want to pull the trigger on it a little bit quicker. A game like, let's just use like GTA 5. For whatever reason, if you're looking for GTA 5, you're going to find them all over the place. You have no problem finding a copy of that, right?
Correct.
So as long as it's an uncommon or rare game, it's not something you typically see every day. Yeah, Wes is right. You should probably just pick it up.
Yeah, because like last year, I know there was a vendor that had a Genesis game that you were looking for, Shove It, I think it was called. And I was like, oh, wow, let me see if Matt still
it's an uncommon game. It's not something most people look for, but it is an uncommon game.
I think I text you. I walked away, I think you were working, so you didn't get back to me right away.
Yeah, that's
So
what happened.
when you did, you were like, okay, yeah, it's, if they have it, if it's a decent price, go get it. So I went back and it was already gone. But I'm talking a time span of maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's not even that long. That's crazy. I
Mm-hmm.
really can't. I can't believe that anybody in the world bought that game in 45 minutes, Wes. The game's
Yeah.
not great. I just want it back because it was one of the few games that I actually sold in my life that I never got back.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I remember. So I was like, oh, okay, well they have it. So let me see if you want it. But yeah, if there's something like that you see it and you think you want it, just grab it.
Yeah, and for God's sakes, if anybody listening to this is going to be at SoCal, please bring your Genesis games this year. There was like nothing last year. I couldn't believe it, Wes. Like they try to think about the market and what's going to sell, and there was like no Genesis games. I did buy one or two, but
Mm-hmm.
like you would think there'd be Genesis games from like no, very little Genesis.
Oh man, too many games had tons of Genesis games.
I think that's also an East Coast West Coast thing. I think Genesis
Mm-hmm.
was way bigger in the East Coast, and I think Super Nintendo was probably bigger out here. But yeah, I know I saw videos of too many games. I was very jealous of all the Genesis stuff around.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of like the odd, like the rarities. I didn't see a lot of Sega CD. I didn't see a lot of 3DO. I didn't see a lot of Jaguar. I didn't see a lot of that. Um, but yeah, Genesis, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, GameCube, Xbox 360. Yeah, all that stuff was all over the place.
Yeah, I didn't see much Jaguar like 3DO, like the weirder stuff. You didn't see much Turbo Graphics. You didn't see much
Turbo
of.
Graphics. I didn't see
I,
a lot of Turbo Graphics either.
I saw more Sega Saturn than I thought I was going to see. Honestly, um,
You
I was
know, I
kind of
did too.
surprised.
I did too.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I was like, why does everybody have They didn't have a lot, but a lot of
Mhm.
vendors had like 10, 15 Sega Saturn games. Like, what? How does everybody in this place have Sega Saturn games?
That's awesome.
They don't have any Genesis games though. Anyway, um, that's pretty much it for the convention stuff. Anything else you want to add, Wes?
Nah, I think we're good. If you do decide to go multiple days or go on the last day, sometimes that's the best day to go because the vendors don't want to take all this stuff back, so they're looking to kind of really make deals
Yeah,
just so they can sell it.
I got some great deals the last day. I mean, it wasn't like anything mind blowing, but like games that were costing like $15 a piece, I was getting for like $3 to $5. Like,
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
you buy them in like a bundle. Buy like, well, if you buy like three or four, the price gets lower and lower because they're just trying to unload stuff. Some people are.
So for our next segment, it's probably going to be a reoccurring segment, but we're going to talk about two games. It's kind of the old who would win in a fight type discussion. But we're gonna start off things with a bang, and I already know where Matt's head is. But we're gonna talk about Splinter Cell versus Metal Gear. Which do you like more? Because they're very similar as far as the espionage type of gameplay, but franchise wise, what's it for you?
Splinter Cell. It's easy. It's without a doubt Splinter
Really?
Cell. Look,
Ooh.
I
Okay.
tried Metal Gear multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry if anybody's heard me repeat this before, but those older games, even at the time, I felt they were unplayable. Like the controls are terrible, terrible. Then they made one called Substance, and everybody was like, "Oh, they fixed the controls." No, they didn't. They were not fixed. Now I haven't played 4 Patriots or whatever it was called.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played 5 because I stopped caring at some point. I'm sure the gameplay's improved greatly. I'm sure 4 or 5 probably actually plays well, but I don't have the context of 1, 2, or 3. Now they are remaking Snake Eater this year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll give that another chance.
They're
Maybe
saying
because
They're saying Snake Eater was always the best one. That, and you know what? Believe it or not, that's like my least favorite.
that's what I hear. 2 is like exceptional. Like 2 is supposed to be very, very good.
Metal Gear Solid, I loved. I loved Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
And then we had two Sons of Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the intro scene of him walking on the George Washington Bridge and jumping off, and just the gameplay was I loved it, loved it.
Jumping off a bridge. Yeah, nobody else has done that.
Oh, man, yo, Metal Gear was just so good. You know, hiding in boxes and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, Splinter Cell. When we saw the first Splinter Cell, I
Oh
was like,
man,
oh man,
that knocked the socks off of everybody. They were like, Metal Gear what?
yeah. I gotta admit it. They did. When I remember just seeing a demo of him in the prison, and he was like hiding in the ceiling in the shadows, and all
Mm-hmm.
you saw was like his little night vision goggles. Oh
Yeah,
my
man.
god, yeah, that was crazy.
Taking his silenced handgun, shooting out some lights
Mhm.
for cover. Man, that game was so good, Wes. That sold systems for Xbox also. That was a
It did.
yeah.
It did because that was an exclusive for. That was a timed exclusive.
Yep.
Um, it looked good. It played good. I mean, Splinter Cell 2. You know, we had what 2 and 3, Chaos Theory and
Andor
Endor
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But then it kind of like derailed and kind of went in a different direction, and it went more actiony.
Yeah, they started doing some other things. There was one on Xbox 360 that was supposed to be very good. I want to say it was Blacklist, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. I unfortunately haven't played one of those since the third one. I haven't played any since Chaos Theory. So I'm not sure how those newer ones do fare, but I heard most of them were not great, except for, I want to say, it was either Blacklist or Conviction. One of those was supposed to be pretty dang good.
I did. I did a couple of them after
The trilogy.
the trilogy. They were good, but they were very action based.
Hmm.
Um, less on the stealth espionage type stuff, and it was more like kind of in your face action.
Yeah, that's not, I mean, it's not the same. It should have just stayed a stealth game.
It should have. It should have. I'm just trying to. I'm looking at my game eye now just to see which one I was playing. I was talking about. It was Splinter Cell.
While you're looking for that, I will say that Metal Gear, apparently has like a great story and everything. I just can't get past the controls. Honestly, that's all it is. If they were to go back, I wish that Konami would go back and remake the
Mhm.
first one because that's really where I would like to start. But I also
Yeah,
heard that like not canonically, what was the one for time? Chronologically, whatever the
chrono
time word is.
chronologically.
Jesus, thank you.
You're welcome.
That word chronologically, I heard 3 is like the beginning of that, so maybe it's not a bad place for me to start.
Okay. Yeah. So after the original trilogy, 360 had Blacklist, Conviction, and then Double Agent.
Blacklist, Conviction.
Double
It
Agent.
wasn't Double Agent. Double Agent was not the good one. It was either Conviction or Blacklist, and I want to say it was Blacklist, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, Conviction was good. Conviction was really good.
Oh, then maybe it was Conviction. Maybe I'm misremembering that.
Conviction was good. But at the same time, man, I mean, Metal Gear. You had Metal Gear. Said Snake Eater. Everybody praises that to be the best one, and that's the one they're remaking. I said that was kind of like my least favorite, to be honest with you. And I don't know why. It was fine. I don't know. It didn't grab me. And then you had 4, which was good. Which
I
was good.
4 would disinterest me probably the most because I heard that the cutscenes are like 45 minutes. Like,
They were
I don't
long.
want to be sitting there for 45 minutes, dude.
They
If I
were
wanted that,
long.
I would watch a movie. Like, come on.
They were long. Oh, okay. So then, what about that spinoff they did with Raiden?
That's one of the ones I'd probably be more likely to check out. What the hell was that called?
Like the straight up action game.
Yeah, I could see it in my head. It's like blue. There's some blue lines. What
Mm-hmm.
the hell is that called? Oh my god. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance? Something like that? Metal Gear Revengeance?
Metal Gear Rising. Yep. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
There we go.
That was made by. I want to say was that Platinum?
It was
Platinum
Platinum.
Games.
Yep. And that game is supposed to be very good. And that's one I would probably check out.
It was straight action.
Yeah.
Straight action game.
Yeah, I would check that out. I mean, it wouldn't be like a true Metal Gear game. Like, it is entitled, but, it's not like a Kojima game,
Right. I mean, because you didn't play as Solid Snake, you played as Raiden,
Yeah.
the ninja. So I don't know, man. It's a tough one. It's
No, it's not Splinter Cell.
oh, I'm torn. I'm torn.
I'll give Metal Gear this. They've managed to still make new games, and Splinter Cell has fallen off a cliff. And we'll see if they ever make this remake of the original.
They keep talking about the remake. We'll see.
I don't know. Ubisoft's hanging on by like strings over there, so we'll see what the hell they can do.
I mean, if you're watching the video, drop a comment. I'm curious to see which franchise you prefer, Splinter Cell or Metal Gear.
Yeah, everyone's gonna come after me.
There's a lot of love for Metal Gear, man. A lot of love for Metal Gear.
I know. I don't know. It's I'm sure it's fine.
Okay.
If they could improve the gameplay, it would probably be fine.
Everybody
who played 5 is screaming right now. That's so good.
Yeah. I had no problem with it.
I didn't play the other ones. I feel out of place, man. That's why I'm saying I want them to remake the older ones, with modern controls, and maybe I can finally get into it. 2025, the year of Xbox Game Pass. You're saying to yourself, what does that mean? It means they actually have games. Because for years, going back to the Xbox One era, they had very little games. Now, it is interesting that they finally have the games, and they're all coming to PlayStation for the most part, which is ridiculous.
Don't say that, man. That's killing me. But
I wish they would have just held out a little bit longer. I understand the financial impact of them going to PlayStation. I just wish it would have been like, dude, just give this a year. This is the year where you could really see what damage you could do to them. But it's too late for that at this point. But let's celebrate what we're getting in Game Pass, because I've had Game Pass off and on for a while. I've had it consecutively for, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year. And I'm really getting my money's worth this year. So I just want to go through some of the stuff on here that's already come out and stuff that's coming out, throughout the year. The first one on January 2nd, they got Carry On, which is an awesome game. It's kind of like a reverse horror game where you play as a monster. That was on console, PC, and cloud. Later on January 14th, Diablo. Right after that, or at the same day, EA Sports, UFC, FIFA. I'm sorry, UFC, FIFA. EA Sports, UFC 5 came out. We got Kunitsugame, which is a strategy game that's supposed to be very, very good. That hit Game Pass on January 22nd. Let's see, what else is on here?
Oh, January 23rd, we had the Ninja Gaiden Black.
Ninja Gaiden Black, that's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Ooh, I'm playing that now. It's hard. It's hard.
Rightfully so. That's what Ninja Gaiden is. But later on in the year, we're going to get the new one also, which is exciting. Mm-hmm. What is that? Ninja Gaiden, is it 4? Is that what they're calling it? Ninja Gaiden 4? Okay. Yep. Not to be confused with the smaller title, which is I do not think the smaller title, like that 2D one, that is not coming to Game Pass, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, so Ninja Gaiden 2, Orcs Must Die is supposed to be really popular. That was on January 28th. Let's see.
Sniper Elite. If you're big into the sniper games, that dropped earlier this year in January.
Avowed was awesome. I'm playing that now. I really, really like that game a lot. They came out on February 18th. That was probably their first really big title.
I saw that, but I didn't download it.
I love it, Wes.
Yeah.
The combat is fantastic. That's a lot of what, when you guys hear me talk about stuff, I care a lot about gameplay. The gameplay is excellent in Avowed. If you keep it in first-person mode, it wasn't meant to be a third-person game. Don't switch it to third-person. It's a waste of your time. Also put on performance mode. Even then, they need to patch that. The performance mode is kind of choppy. I wish they would fix that.
Was it a straight shooter?
No, it's a first-person action role-playing game.
Okay.
Think of The Legend of Zelda in first person, but they have, your common things like there's like dwarves and like elves and stuff, and things like that are in like your high fantasy games. But the combat's really where the game shines. The combat's excellent. There's a lot of stuff to read. There's a ton of lore, which I kind of care about a little bit. The story's kind of interesting, but I'm mostly there for the excellent combat and the exploration, which tickles that Legend of Zelda fancy.
Okay.
Balatro came out on February 24th. That was the game of the year last year. That hit Game Pass. 33 Immortals. That was a new title, right? That came out on March 18th. Wasn't that new?
Yes. Because there was a game just called Immortals that came out like last year.
Blizzard Arcade Collection, March 25th. Atomfall was a pretty popular Fallout type game that came out on March 27th. Let's see what else is big on here.
Well, I know the one that just dropped April 8th at South of Midnight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Looked interesting.
that's from the guys who did We Happy Few. I can't remember the name of the team, but yeah, that game
It
looks really cool.
it looks interesting. I was thinking about downloading that just to give it a shot. It's on Game Pass. Why not? It's free.
I was gonna play it right after Avowed, but Avowed has completely owned me. I don't know, dude. I'm playing Avowed like every day, like at least for a little bit. I'm probably getting like somewhere between 15 minutes to an hour every day in Avowed.
Oh, nice.
But
Yeah, I want to try to finish Indiana Jones before I jump into that, but
dude,
I
Indiana
am
Jones
going
is
to
so
download
good.
it.
You got to finish Indiana Jones, man. You got to. Love that game. Blueprints was on April 10th. We should mention that because Indiana Jones was the end of last year. That was a December release. So that's
Mm-hmm.
really when all this kicked off. It started with that. And then you got stuff in January, in February. We're in April. We just mentioned South of Midnight. Blueprints came out on April 10th. That game's supposed to be awesome. Let's see what else is on here.
You got Doom, May 15th.
Oh, yeah, man.
The
Doom.
Dark
Come on.
Ages.
Come on.
You got that. You got July. You got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4.
Yep.
So there's a lot of quality stuff coming on Game Pass.
Yeah. Ninja Gaiden 4 will be out this year. You know what's
Mhm.
crazy is Fable got pushed, but Fable would have been this year on top of all that. And The Outer Worlds 2 is this year too. The Outer Worlds 2 will be out before the end of the year. So that's another big title. That's another Obsidian game.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, it kills me that Xbox is kind of going by way of Sega being third party, but they're keeping Game Pass alive, and just looking at the sheer number of titles coming out is impressive.
It's the year Game Pass for me. I mean, I barely touched my PlayStation this year. I touched my Switch a little bit, but it's been ever since Indiana Jones, it's been Xbox all day. That Game Pass, man. Just dude, it's been worth it. It's been worth it. I'm telling you that much. It might not have been worth it before Indiana Jones, but it's been worth it every month since then. So this is really just about giving them a shout out. They worked hard to get to this point with their games. Again, I wish they were coming out. I can't even say physically anymore because their physical games are a joke, which we're going to get into in a little while about digital games and stuff. But like the Xbox physical games are mostly just blank discs that have an unlock code on them. There's no data on the disc or very little data at all. The game is not on the disc for almost all their releases now. So I have no. I'll get into it later. I'm just going to go on a tangent right now.
Bro, that broke my heart when you told me that. I'm like, that just shattered all my hopes and dreams. I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said earlier, if they would have just given this year and seen what their games could do without PlayStation, that if that could have put any kind of like pressure on PlayStation or like could have eaten into some of their market share, I would have loved to have seen it. But now we'll never know. Now they're just going to cash in and get money on both systems.
I know. I wish they could have held on just a little longer. Yeah, because the sheer number of titles that are coming out, and a lot of them are Xbox exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been nice. I wanted to see the console wars go on just a little longer.
Yeah, I mean they are still making hardware. Like they've already announced there's going to be another Xbox, which is great. Like I'm happy to hear that. I'll be less happy to hear that there's no disc drive because I'm pretty confident that that's coming. But I have a lot of money invested in Xbox. The majority of my games are on Xbox, so the fact that I get to keep the ecosystem and my digital games will move over, I'm happy about. But that means my Xbox Series X, if there is no disc drive, is probably going to be hooked up till the end of time because there's like 550 games on my Xbox hard drive. Like that's there's tons and tons of games on there. Maybe they're not all on the hard drive, but I can access them. And if the next console doesn't have a disc drive, maybe I can only access half of them or something like that.
Okay. You just said that most of your games are on Xbox. Why is that?
I prefer the controller. I prefer their ecosystem. Xbox One was a little shaky, but I really like Xbox's interface now, the way it is today. I like it better than PlayStation. PlayStation's is boring. It's very scroll to the left, scroll to the, like, dude. You've been doing the same thing since PS3. I get it. Scroll to the left, scroll to the right. I understand. Xbox just has a little bit more personality to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I
Yeah,
just curious.
yeah. I
Just
mean, and I've been
curious.
buying games there longer. Like digital
Yeah.
games, I've been buying there longer since the Xbox 360 is really where it began. Most people started digital libraries on like probably PS4, but my digital library started on Xbox 360, PS3,
Mm-hmm.
and I was way more into Xbox during that generation than I ever was PS3.
Okay. The reason I ask, I want to say I'm pretty much there with you. I've been trying to show my PS5 some love lately though, because like I was in a GameStop and I pre-ordered like a bunch of titles and I did a good mix. I did, some Xbox, some PS5, just to kind of show my PlayStation 5 a little bit of love.
Well,
But
let's reverse the question. Why do you primarily have your games on Xbox?
ooh, I guess it goes back to what I was kind of used to because, like you said, original Xbox and 360, and that was like the focus. Because they were winning in the console wars. 360 blew PlayStation 3 out of the water.
Yeah, PS3 came back and actually beat them in sales by the end of
Mm-hmm.
their generation. But I mean, for that whole generation, PS3 was getting punched in the face almost the entire time until like the very end.
Yeah, and the Xbox Live, I loved it, and I kind of stuck with it,
Yeah,
and
they,
it
they
just.
owned you at the right time to own you. That's when you
Mm-hmm.
needed to be owned, and they owned you then. That's the same thing for me. Like PlayStation 3, I wanted nothing to do with their online stuff. I tried it like once. I was like, this is dumb. Like, how the hell are you guys even using this thing? And sure, it's better now. PS4 made big improvements. PS5 is great. But it to the point that I'm making is you didn't own me when you needed to own me. Xbox did. And
Yeah,
that's why all my stuff is there.
yeah. And then Xbox One came out, and they had me because they gave me Killer Instinct, and then they gave me Dead Rising.
Hmm.
So it just kind of, I just stayed. And not that I dislike my PlayStation at all,
Dude, I have every PlayStation. I'm right there with you. I have all of
but
it.
I do spend more time on my Xbox than my PlayStation.
The only generation that statement was not true for me was PS4 and Xbox One. That was a horrendous console launch. Like, I mean, not the entire library, not to say that the entire thing was bad, but I mean, dude, I had like very little interest in Xbox One. I didn't like the way the machine looked. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
like the interface of the machine. I didn't like all the weird stuff they were talking about with DRM, and then they changed things. Like their messaging was terrible. They had no like a lot of games missed that console. I could go on, but I really did dislike the Xbox One. And for that generation, PlayStation 4 certainly was my console of
Yeah.
choice. Our next subject is Nintendo's pushing digital games. And I'll put pushing in quotes because it's not so much them as they're opening the door for everyone to knock it the hell down and just start making digital games. And I'll explain that in a second. So, if you don't know, Switch 2 is coming out. If you live under a
Mm-hmm.
rock and have nothing to do with video games. And you might be saying to yourself, why the hell are you guys covering this on your channel? You cover mostly retro stuff. Why are you talking about something new? Well, we do talk about new stuff from time to time, A. And B, we do talk a lot about physical and digital stuff and how Wes and I are physical collectors. Obviously, you see some stuff that I have behind me. Wes has an extensive collection, like way bigger than mine, from years and years, and he still collects to this day. So do I.
Mm-hmm.
So we care a lot about physical media. That's why we're having this conversation, even though I know we're late to the party and people have already been talking about this for at least a week or two. But Nintendo's game key cards is where I want to start. And what a game key card is, it's a Switch cart that has nothing on it. It's just a cart that allows you to download the
Mm-hmm.
game. And what's interesting about this, from what I can understand, is I could take that digital cart and give it to you, and you could have the digital game also. Like you still need to have that cart, but it requires a download.
Yeah.
So it's digital.
Mm-hmm.
It's a physical item that has
Right.
a digital key code that whoever has that key code can download and use it. That's my understanding of how it works. So it's a little bit different from a digital game because you know,
You can share it.
you can share it. Yeah.
So okay, good idea, bad idea, because I spend $80 to buy this game. I give it to you. You give it to the next person. You give it to the next person.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a cap on how many people can actually use that same digital card.
I don't think so.
I mean, because they're going to be losing money. It's one person just has to buy a game, and then he can share it with 100 of his friends.
Well, yeah, it's just like if I bought a physical game from the store. In that aspect, yes, it's like buying a physical game, right? Because they're buying these in the store. They're digital.
You're right.
Digital games that are on a cart, but you know, they're forcing you to do the download. It's like a half measure, is the way I'm looking at this. Like
Mm-hmm.
the Switch did very good with physical compared to other companies. Very, very good. Moving into the Switch 2, they're like, okay, well, how can we? This is my idea, or this is what I'm thinking. Rather, they're thinking, how do we get people to get closer to digital games? Well, let's make a half measure. We'll still give them a physical product in the store, but we're going to make them download it. They can still share it with a friend, and then they're going to get it and they're going to download it, but then they're not going to have the copy anymore. You know. The other thing they did too was they made their digital games shareable, and I think you just have to be in their family network. So if you and I were in our family network, I could share
Mm-hmm.
a game with you, and
Right.
you'd have it for 7 days, and you can give it back to me early. But if you don't, on day 7, it's going to come back to me no matter what.
Yep. Okay, that I know, which makes sense. That I can I can agree with.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think they're doing these consumer friendly things to ease people into digital, you know, or at least semi ease them into digital. Like, oh, look, you can still do this, you can still do that. And before you know it, you're like, I don't need to buy that game from the shelf. I'd rather just have the digital copy. If I want to share with you, I could just send it to your Switch, as long as you're my family network.
So here's a question for you: the with Nintendo pushing these game key cards, these physical key cards,
Mm-hmm.
how what how's that going to affect the market? You think they're going to be worth anything? Or are they going to be like digital? Because right now, as we know, digital is not worth anything because it's not nothing tangible.
I don't think collectors are going to want it. I'm a collector, and here. I'll use myself as an example.
Okay.
Where this is going to kind of get into another topic shortly, but I will not be buying Xbox game physically probably at all anymore because the data is not on the disc. And that's the number one purpose, is that the data be on the disc. So
Mhm.
when the servers are offline in 20 years or something, I can be like, all right, I'm gonna go play this game and put it in,
Mhm.
and I won't be able to download anything. So that needs to be on the disc.
Right.
And if it's not, then that defeats the purpose of me having it. So why don't I just buy it digitally at that point? For the box on the shelf? Are the servers even going to recognize the game when I put it in 20 years from now? Is it going to be able to download?
Mm.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a thought.
Maybe a company as big as Microsoft could keep something like that going. I don't. This is why I'm getting away from that. Like they're literally pushing me away. The data's not on the disc. I don't care
Mhm.
about having an empty box or a box with a disc that's useless. So Nintendo's in the same boat. They're giving me cartridges with no data. I don't want
Mhm.
that. I'd rather have a physical copy. There are supposed to be physical copies still, just to be clear. Nintendo's not completely abandoning them. They're just going to have options where there are these things. So some games will have this, some games will not. I bet you third party people were going to be more inclined to do this. If not, just do digital completely, because they're not. Then they don't have to produce anything, right? I'm not sure how many companies are going to take part in this like half measure.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. Uh, It broke my heart. You said you're not going to buy any more Xbox games, but and the discs are blank.
And probably not
Okay. But I'm going to look at Indiana Jones. Okay. Indiana Jones, I bought physical
on Xbox.
on Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's on Game Pass, so I downloaded it, but I wanted to have a physical copy.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the disc is blank, it's still an $80 game. Like
Today,
game today. Right
how much
now.
will it be if the servers go offline in 20 years and that disk doesn't connect to anything, and then it's just a piece of plastic? that is not playable? That's the question that we don't know the answer to yet.
It's true.
We're getting close. I mean, PS3 games, 360 games. Actually, we probably could find out if we went back and popped some of those in and figure out. But even at that point in PS3 360, that data was still on the disc.
Correct.
So it's really like the Xbox
Mhm.
One generation, servers are still up. PS4 generation, servers are still up. Once that generation starts to sunset, then you're going to get a real clear picture of if, those digital games that were not on the disc will actually
Mhm.
trigger a download.
Gotcha. All right, we'll see. It's just a thought. I don't know.
Do you trust major corporations to do the right thing?
No. No.
There's your answer. Best way I can describe it to you is that right there.
I don't like it, man. I don't like it.
Yo, let me say this about Switch 2 before I talk about another Switch topic in a second. I am so happy with my physical Switch collection. Like, it's one of my favorite collections, honestly, and it's
Mhm.
newer, and that's such a rare thing. I think it's because the system is portable. I can dock it to the TV. I like the little carts. They're in regular boxes. I wish they had manuals. That's my only real complaint.
Mhm.
Um, actually, I have two. The real manuals would be nice, and I wish the sides of them weren't identical. I wish they all just weren't red with white letters. I wish they had art on the side. That would be really cool to look at. But other than those things, I love my physical Switch collection, and I think that collection is going to be worth quite a bit. Like, I think people for generations are going to really love
Mhm.
a Nintendo Switch. Seeing the Switch 2, in my eyes, when I started thinking about all this stuff, I'm like, okay, well, if I'm moving away from Xbox, at least I still have Switch. And in my head, I started planning like maybe Switch 2 is the last system I buy physical games for. And now I'm
Okay.
like, I don't even know if I care. Like, maybe I do, but I don't know what it looks like yet. They said Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be on the cartridge. Cool.
Mhm.
I'll buy Donkey Kong physically. But if I bought, let's say I buy 100 games for my Switch 2, how many of those am I even going to be able to get physically? Like, really physically, where the information is on the
It's
cartridge.
on the cart. Yeah. All right. Yeah. You. I was going to ask you, were you actually going to get a Switch too?
Oh yeah, man. I love Nintendo. I love all video game systems. Xbox, well, I don't care about PC.
I'm on the fence, man. I mean, I don't play my Switch as it is. I mean, I have it, and I do. I have played it, um, but it sits. My Switch hasn't been turned on in months. I don't know. I'm on the fence. Do I want to dive into a Switch 2 and get another system that I won't play as much? I don't know.
I mean, Zelda's a top tier game for me. I have to. I mean, if they were like, listen, we're gonna sell you this $500 machine, and you're gonna get two different Zelda games, I'm like, sign me up. Here's my $500. Give me my two Zelda games. Especially after Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I
Mhm.
adore Tears of the Kingdom. Like, that might be my favorite game of the past generation, or at least one of them.
Okay.
Like, so that alone is enough to really push me in that direction. And Animal Crossing, I'm a huge Animal Crossing stan, which I may not look like it or you would think of that, but I love Animal Crossing dearly, more so than Mario. I love both those games more than Mario. Um, I do like traditional Mario games. I prefer the
Mhm.
2D or the Mario 3D World was
Mhm.
awesome. I like that better than most of the 3D games,
Okay.
unless we're talking about Mario 64, the GOAT, of course. So yeah, I'm gonna buy a Switch too.
Okay.
The tariff situation is gonna be tough. They don't have a price on it. They said 450 with no Mario Kart or
Or
500 with
five
Mario Kart.
with Mario Kart. And now I was considering, like I said, I'm on the fence. But if I decide to get one, it would be the 500 with Mario Kart.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a perfect point to transition into another conversation. So in a second, we're going to talk about Mario Kart and the pricing structure with that. But what about? Let me reverse that question to you. So, what would you need to spend $500 on a Nintendo Switch 2? Like, what would really? I know you're on the fence. That's what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
What would push you over the edge and say, I'm definitely getting this thing?
Ooh.
Just as a
Oh,
reminder, right now you have Mario Kart World,
right.
Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is a 3D
Mm-hmm.
Donkey Kong game, and
Mm-hmm.
Metroid Prime 2, which to be fair is also coming on Switch 1.
Right. Yeah. Metroid Prime Beyond.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I said 2. You're right. It's Metroid Prime
Beyond.
4 Beyond, or maybe the 4 is not even in the title.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of that one title that would make me say I'm buying a Switch.
Yeah, you don't have
Maybe
Nintendo love the same way I do. You
I,
really
I, I
don't.
don't. I mean, I like Nintendo. Back in the day, I loved Nintendo, but now it's just kind of like, I think Xbox kind of filled that filled that space in my heart.
I get it.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of a single title that would make me say I have to get it.
Punch
Maybe
Out, F Zero, Zelda, 3D Mario, 2D Mario. Uh,
maybe Smash,
okay, all right.
maybe Smash Bros.
You'd be waiting a while.
Yeah, maybe Smash Bros. Unless they came out with like an exclusive of like because Resident Evil 4 was initially like the remake, where Resident Evil 4 was GameCube,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and for a long time it was GameCube only.
Yep.
Resident Evil 1 remake was GameCube only.
Yep. That's
So
true.
unless they do something like that, that's like, okay, I have to get a Switch too.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
I can understand that. If you're not into the games the same way I am, I totally understand that. That's kind of like, no, I can't even say that. It's just like, I don't know. I love PlayStation for their first party titles. I
Mhm.
play pretty much everything on Xbox, whether it's first party or third party. And then Nintendo, I play mostly first party Nintendo games there. Like Xbox is really my all around system, and then the other two are just exclusives,
Mhm. Okay.
which makes sense more than ever because Xbox is basically a third party company now. So you know,
Every time you say that, it just, I sink a little bit inside. It's like, oh,
I know, man. But let's get into the other thing. So let's talk about the prices for a second. Uh, in Europe, only in Europe, I want to be very clear. Maybe Japan, not the United States, not Canada. Well, I'm not even talking about Canada. Let's just say United States because I have no idea what Canada's pricing is like. In Europe, for sure, though, Mario Kart World physically is $90 and digitally is 80. There's a
mm,
$10 discrepancy where they are charging more. Now, this is not happening in the US. It's $80 digitally or physically in the US, but there is that $10, price comparison. And I think it's in the euro, if I remember correctly.
bro, why am I having flashbacks in Nintendo 64 with these super expensive games?
Yeah, 64 had some very expensive titles, man. I think Killer Instinct was $90 when that came out.
Yeah, there was a bunch of them. A couple of them that were like 89.99.
Yep, yep.
But yeah, I mean, 10. The games are already going to be expensive for Switch too. They already said the
Yeah.
games are going to be like what, 69 to $79.
Yeah, most of the games are between $70 and $80, depending on the title. Like Donkey Kong Bonanza is a $70 game.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Kart World is an $80 game. So it is going to be kind of all over the place. They didn't rule out that some games would be cheaper, but most of the stuff they showed was, between $70 and $80.
And then to have an increased price.
Yeah, how do you like your physical tax? What if that happens over
Woo!
here?
I don't know, man. We're physical guys. I don't know. Would you pay it?
For $10, I'd probably pay it. 20, now you're really pushing me, man. Like,
So you would pay $100, almost $100 for a Switch game.
if it's physically on the cart and
Mm-hmm.
I do not need an internet connection to download something,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. That's
Okay.
that's like the top of the line. But to your
Okay.
point, about the question about the console earlier, I'm absolutely going to try to get that Mario Kart bundle because that means Mario Kart is $50 instead of 90 for physical. That's a
Correct.
$40 difference. Or I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
in the US it would be 80, so it would be a $30 difference. I will absolutely try to get the bundle with Mario Kart if I can,
Okay.
even though it's digital.
Yeah. I'll bite the bullet, but it's a better deal. I would do it.
Yeah. Now here's the other thing you got to know about me. What did I mention earlier? I don't typically pay full price for any games. I wait and I watch those prices all the time. I have like 5 accounts on Twitter that I'm looking at, all the time about deals and stuff. And most of the games I buy them on the cheap, you know, or at least the cheaper. So a lot of my Switch games, you know, they do go on sale. They don't go on
Mhm.
sale often. There's a fallacy that people constantly say, "Oh, Nintendo games never go on sale." No, that's not true. They do go on sale. You just have to know when to look and pay attention. Do they go on sale often? No. You just got to be ready to pull the trigger when they do. And a lot of my Switch games I've gotten under $40.
Okay.
Some of them I've gotten under $20. It just depends.
Mhm.
But that's what I fully plan on doing with Switch 2. Now, what might backfire is if this digital push happens and they really get people buying digital games a lot,
Mhm.
well, they're not going to make as many physical games, which means it already is getting harder on other systems, but it's probably going to get harder to judge when to pick it up. Like, okay, the price has dropped $20. Do I pull the trigger now, or do I gamble and see if it goes lower? Because if that print run is low and you didn't take that $20 drop, might not be there the next time at all. Period.
Yeah.
That's already a problem I have with physical games now that I'm buying, and I'm wrapping it up, Wes. It's getting wrapped up. That's gonna lead us into another topic in a minute. Maybe we should just go there now. Is there anything else you want to mention about
I'm
Nintendo?
good, man. I'm good. Well, I'll keep everybody posted if I decide to pre-order a Switch too.
You got it, man. Come on. Don't you want to visit my island on Animal Crossing? You know it's coming, Wes.
I don't play Animal Crossing. I ain't got time for that. My daughter plays. She loves it.
That's amazing. It's an amazing game, Wes. One day I'll get you.
Nah, I
All
can't
right.
shoot. I can't shoot anything. So nah.
You can just shoot a slingshot. All right, guys. So this next conversation is going to be how our gaming habits have changed over the years, which was a perfect transition from our previous conversation about Nintendo games going somewhat digital with their weird little key cards. Um, Before I get to the stuff that I want to say, Wes, I want to know about you first. How have your gaming habits changed over the years? And I know you didn't prepare for this, so whatever comes to mind, go with it.
I've become more picky
Okay.
because when we worked together, I bought everything,
Yeah.
anything and everything.
No, he's not exaggerating. I mean, if games also didn't come out at the same clip that they're coming out now, you could buy everything. You had the opportunity to do that. And Wes bought nearly everything, like
If
everything,
I have Charlie's Angels for the GameCube in my collection,
for no reason.
tells you I've I buy everything. Um, but over the years up to now, I've become more selective,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, of what I buy. Because to me, it's been more of like, well, like back then, it was like everything was new, was fresh, was original, good, bad, crappy. It didn't matter.
Right, and
It was
maybe only 10 games came out in that month, or 5 games came out in that month, or something. It wasn't like today where you sneeze and 5 games comes out like in an hour.
it was different, but everything has been lately like a remake, rehash, remaster, and it's kind of
Yes.
so it's like I don't want to buy like I don't want to buy the same game over and over and over and over and over again. So I've been more selective in what I'm physically buying. But Game Pass, we talked about it earlier, helps a lot because I can download it, try it. If I like it, I'll complete it. If not, uninstall it and move on.
Mm-hmm. A tangent I'll have off of that is, uh, you know, I want to talk about my habits in a minute, but if I'm moving away from buying physical Xbox games, well, the Game Pass just makes up for that right there. And that's pretty much what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like I said, unless there's a game that I know that I definitely want, I think I've last year I think I might have bought a total physically purchased maybe 20 games.
Okay. Let me ask you a follow up to that. Are you hunting these prices like I am? Like, are you waiting till the price hits a certain point, or are you just buying them like day one, brand new?
I'm just buying. I've always been a day one person.
Okay.
I've always been a day one person. Now, those games do not include retro.
Okay. Yeah,
Retros
that's
don't
a good
count.
point.
Retros, if I yeah, it's this is just going by just new.
Mm-hmm.
Retro is different. Retro, I'm going filling in holes, games that I don't have, games that I lost as a child, games that were misplaced or stolen, what have you. So yeah, my retro buying habits have actually increased, where my new game buying has kind of decreased. So that's me.
Well, yes, and that's exactly what the same position I'm finding myself, and especially this year. Last year was really the last time I bought a bunch of physical games, and I went through like some receipts and stuff, and I was like, "What the hell did I do? Why did I buy all this?" You know, and I was just like, granted, to my point earlier, I got a lot of those games for cheap. Like, I didn't pay full price for pretty much anything. Me buying a game day one is absolutely rare now. Ever since my daughter was born, really, that changed because
Mm,
A, they're more expensive. I can wait a couple months and get them cheaper. I can wait even longer and get them even cheaper than that. And I really just found myself not having the time to play them. So it's benefiting me to just wait and get them on the cheap later on. And then I just play games whenever. So my habits also transferred at that time too. So my daughter is 3, so about 3 years ago, I just stopped buying new games. And now everything I play is
mm,
old or on Game Pass now, right? We talked about Game
okay.
Pass already. So
Yep.
my newer stuff I mostly play on Game Pass. I'll give you a perfect example. Astrobot came out this past year. That should have been a game I bought day one. Didn't buy it. I'm gonna buy it when I find it for $30 or less.
Mm-hmm.
God of War Ragnarok. Didn't buy it day one. God of War 1, the first God of War 2018. Bought that day one. Daughter wasn't born then. Played it. Great. Loved it. Horizon Forbidden West. Bought that day one. Played it. Loved it. So I did do this in the past, is my point. Now I'm not doing it. Ragnarok I got for $30, Wes.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, that's still the cheapest price I have seen it. I've
See,
seen it. Go ahead.
Ragnarok, I bought day one because that was a game I knew I wanted to play immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately. So I couldn't wait. There's certain games that I can't wait, months to play because my excitement around it. Like God of War, like Star Wars, like Fallen Order and Survivor. Like those are like day one games.
The
Because
only
I
Go ahead. I'm
jumping
sorry.
on. No, I'm saying I just because I want to jump right in and start playing.
The only company that still makes me do that is Nintendo. Like, you give me that new Zelda and I'll do it. Like, that's mostly the company that has me. Like, if there's a new Zelda, Animal Crossing, maybe
Mm.
Mario, I'll buy it like immediately. But just about anything else, I'm gonna wait for at this point.
Ooh. Okay.
Astrobot is a game I cannot wait to play. I cannot wait to play that game.
Okay.
But I'm gonna wait until it's $30. I got a million other things to play. And with Game Pass, I have new stuff every month.
True.
So, and I have a bunch of retro stuff that I still haven't played. And I'm 40 years old. I have a bunch of retro games that I need to go back and play. That's without me even buying anything.
I love my retro stuff. I do. Like I said, I find myself buying more retro stuff than new stuff now.
That's where I'm sort of transitioning to at this point. Like, I'm looking at the stuff that I have, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't even need in my collection, to be honest. Like, there's stuff I should probably get rid of to make space for other things. And as far as new games go, if I'm being pushed away from Xbox, I'm seemingly being pushed away from Nintendo, at least a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And even PlayStation 5 is like, there's not as many physicals there used to be. Like, companies like Limited Run are keeping stuff like that around, you know, but more and more I'm just disengaged with what they're doing. Like, even Limited Run, I used to spend lots of money at Limited Run. Last year I probably bought like 3-4 games from them.
Limited run is the death of me, man. I can't. Every time I get that email, like right now, I have two things sitting in my cart that I want to pre-order. It's like I went, I logged on and looked. I have like about 8 pre-orders. It's still sitting, waiting. I was like, oh. They're killing me.
Dude, I've been hitting them up since like the early days. Like I wasn't there day one, but I found out about them a few months after they started, and I was getting stuff back then, and I was going nuts for a while on there, but not anymore. I don't know. I'm just like I said, I'm really disengaged with it. I'm more likely to be interested in like retro stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or if they make like a version like for an NES cart or something like that. Like that's really cool. When they did the Rugrats on NES, I'm like, oh, dude, like
Right.
this is dope. Like, all right, you got me. But yeah, I think what I'm gonna end up probably doing is like newer stuff is just gonna be digital because we're being forced out. It's just reality. Slowly but surely, we're being forced out. Limited run of those companies are keeping things alive. As I've said in
Mm-hmm.
the past, once these console holders stop putting hard or disk drives on their systems, where's their business model?
Yeah.
The only place their business model can exist is going back and re-releasing retro games for the systems that already have disk drives. That's their only option. That's it. They can't make new games for systems that don't have disk drives. They cannot do it. So limited run games is either going to have to change their business model and focus on the old systems, or they're going to die. Those are the two options they have. I mean, the third option is they just make collector's items. They make like tchotchkes for, the next Fallout game. They can't sell you the disc, so they're going to make you a Fallout statue and give you the digital code.
Hmm.
So even then, I'm like, all right, well, if limited run games is going to possibly eventually go away, which it's either that or they're going to make these like re-released retro games, right? Which I do like when they do. They do pick titles like Ninja 5.0, right? They're re-releasing that. That's a very
Yep.
expensive GBA. Like that's awesome, dude. Do stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's really where they're gonna shine. That's where they're gonna shine in the future, is focusing on the retro stuff. Because me and you probably, you already said you're doing it. I'm less engaged on these new games. They're rehashing everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as interested. The indie scene is like, vibrant. There's a lot more stuff there. Their games are cheaper. Yeah, they're digital too, but who the hell cares if everything is going to be digital? What's the difference? You know? And a lot of times I just rather go back and like start collecting these older games, and like I think in, probably like 15 or 20 years, I might only play retro games. I might just give up completely on the new stuff. They're all becoming live service games also, and I understand why. I know why. It's because the younger generations, that's what they want. They go ask them if they want the next PlayStation or if they want a PC so they can play Fortnite with
Mm-hmm.
higher graphics or something. They're going to tell you, give me the PC. That's what they're going to say. The kids out there aren't waiting for the next console to come out.
No.
So we're the old people keeping this alive, and those people are only getting older, which means eventually it's going to die. And then everything's going to be digital on a PC, and I have nothing to do with any of that. That's not for me. It's beyond me, and I don't care. So I'm probably just going to become a retro gamer only in the next like 15 years. That's where
Pretty much. Pretty much. Which is fine with me because I love my old stuff.
I do too. I think I would just like to really go through my collection and not do like a major purge, but definitely do a purge and get rid of the stuff that I really don't care about, just to make some space, and then really start to understand some libraries better and pick out titles that I would want to actually, have and play.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I don't already do that, but I do have a lot of games that I'm never going to play. I could tell you right now I have a lot of games that I'm probably never going to play.
Yeah.
I just accumulated through the years. So anyway, to answer your question, the way my habits have changed, that's the way that they're changing currently. The way that they changed in the past was the thing I mentioned about my daughter being born. And before then, I would just say the genres changed a lot throughout my life, where I would play different stuff. The first time I played a shooter was in middle school. That was like mind blowing when I played Wolfenstein and like Duke Nukem and shit. Like that was awesome. Doom, come on, man. Like that changed me forever.
Yeah.
The first time I played Zelda, it was awesome. Mario 64, I've mentioned a million times. It's really the genres that change, and there's a handful of things that I haven't been cracked on yet. Like I can't get into strategy games. I have a real tough time with them. And I would say turn-based RPGs are still a problem for me. I can play action RPGs. I really enjoy them actually, but turn-based, I don't know.
No. I want to go back because I miss the old school style little chibi characters turn based role playing games. I
Like
miss
the old
those.
Final Fantasy games.
I miss those,
Yeah.
like Wild Arms and stuff like that. I miss those type of role playing games, and so yeah, I may have to go back and start digging some out and start playing them again.
That's where old asses are headed. Back to the past, Wes. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap things up here with a pulse check. So this month, I got the high pick. Wes has the low pick. Where would you like to begin, Wes?
You know what? I think I'll go first with the low pick.
Go for it.
I just picked a random title.
Oh, it's
Going through
random.
it is random. Going through my game mind, but it was a series that it started on computer. Because I didn't have a computer, so I'd go over to my friend's house and play it. And the game I'm talking about is Wing Commander. It was a space combat game that had like a really deep story. Never seen anything like it. It was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Fast forward 1995 for the 3DO, they came out with Wing Commander 3, Heart of the Tiger. And that was the first time they incorporated full motion video and got real actors because they got like Mark Hamill was in it.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know he was in that.
Malcolm McDowell was in it. So they got like top name actors to act out the story. And it's still a old space combat type game. But I picked the 3DO because I don't think we ever talked about 3DO games. And I got to show 3DO some love. Wing Commander 3 for the 3DO loose is $24. Complete in box was 55, and if you have a new copy, it's 115. And 3DO is not a very popular system. That's kind of cheap.
Yeah,
It's
I
kind
mean,
of cheap.
most of the games are probably uncommon or rare. There's probably not many common games on the 3DO just because it didn't sell well.
Exactly. I'm also going to just touch on it because it also came out for PlayStation, the same game, and it was multi discs. But if you happen to find a PlayStation version or are interested in it, it's $18 for just the CDs. I think it was 4 CDs. Complete in
Damn,
boxes.
4 CDs on PS1.
Yeah, yep. Complete in box is 25, and sealed is $81. So that's cheap. It's cheap for a uncommon game.
Oh yeah, you're not going to see that every day for sure. It's just not a popular game either. Even to this day, it's probably that's the thing about some uncommon games. They're if they're not popular, they're still not crazy expensive just because people aren't really looking for them.
Yeah, the game was cool. Like I said, it was like a big space opera, kind of like Battlestar Galactica. You're fighting against the aliens, and the story goes, and you go into when it's time to do a combat mission, you go in your ship and space duel and come back. Story, rinse and repeat. But it was good. It was decent.
I remember seeing the magazines and stuff. It looked cool, but I
Mm-hmm.
never had a PC, and I certainly wasn't going to play it on console. So I was just like,
Okay.
but it looked
Yeah.
cool.
So that's my low pick. Something odd.
There you go. Well, I got something out for you guys too, because this is a game I would never normally talk about. However, I was looking and thinking, all right, I got the high pick. Let me see something that's out in left field. Let me see something new. Because we never talk about new stuff. Except for this episode, we're talking about quite a bit of new stuff. What's one of the most expensive games on Xbox Series X? I gotta know. So I started going through, and what I found out was Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, specifically the premium edition, is pretty dang expensive on a console that's still relevant today. This is Xbox's flagship console right now. That they don't have
Mm-hmm.
anything newer, so you wouldn't expect to see games too high yet. So if we're looking at this game loose is $369, complete in box is $425, and if you can get a sealed one, it's $553. Now I know the premium editions are more, but man, I doubt that game was $553 when it came out.
Definitely not.
I'm gonna search right now just to check really quick. How much was Fires of Rubicon
Probably like $100. Maybe
Premium Edition?
maybe 150.
it was priced at $230.
Okay.
So that doubled, more than doubled in value. That's pretty good.
What did it give you? A bunch of extra stuff?
I have no idea. Let me see. These were prices during pre-orders at Bandai Namco stores. What this says. What did it come with? Here's a photo. Let's see what this is. Looks like there's stickers. I'm assuming that's an action figure of a mech. It's either an action figure or like a diorama. Steelbook case. It looks like there's a slip cover over top of that. Either an art book or a strategy guide. Some pins. And I don't know what this is. Maybe that's a soundtrack.
Okay. All right.
And it looks like I'm seeing a bunch of eBay listings for around $600 for this. So, yeah, $550 is not off base. All right, guys, so there you have it. That's our pulse check for the week. Armored Core. And then we got 3DO...
Wing Commander.
Wing Commander. Oh, my gosh. Thank you, Wing Commander.
Wing Commander 3.
At the end of the show, I'm falling apart. So thank you guys for watching, listening, whatever it is you're doing out there. We appreciate it. Please remember to give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast service if you like what you heard today. Please consider supporting us over on Patreon, patreon.com/nerdthusiast. You can support us for as little as $1 a month, and that goes back to helping out all of our shows. We do really appreciate your support over there. Also, shout out to Bernardo this month for supporting us over there. We appreciate you, Bernardo. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bernardo.
And Wes, if people want to follow you, where can they do so?
You can follow me on Instagram at Grendel5XBX.
Awesome. I'm Matt. You guys can follow me at FromNJ2CA. The 2 is a number 2 over on Twitter or X or whatever you'd like to call it. All right, guys. So that wraps up our show for today. Look forward to next month's where hopefully we have a special guest for you. We'll see. Teaser.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Until next time, y'all take care.
Have a good one, guys.